Welcome back to the It's Bigger Than Me podcast. I'm your host, Molly Trotter Gomez, on this special season of talking with amazing authors for this incredible book that our Kingdom Alliance Publishing House put out, Restore My Soul, Stories of Redemption, Deliverance, and Hope. I have another amazing author with us today, Lemon Price. Lemon, I am so excited for you to be able to come on just to share your experience. Lemon and I are dear friends, and for her to share her story and the depths that she did in this book is just so inspiring and again so hope filled for so many people. So I'm excited for you to hear from her today. But before we dive in, Lemon, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, hi, friends. I'm Lemon. Like Molly said, we've been friends for a long time. I'm so grateful for her because I wouldn't be here without her. But I'm also the marketing director of the publishing house. So I probably have a different take on the whole experience than any of the other authors will, but it has just been kind of a really incredible experience for us.
I love it. I mean, there's so many things inside Kingdom Alliance to help people get out their stories and be able to impact more people. And writing is a big part of that. So not only do we have a author academy that people can go through to learn how to write a book, there's a publishing house side. So whether you want to self-publish, you want a team to help you publish, like Lemon's going to be the gal when it comes to marketing, which is amazing. But Lemon, outside of that, like you wrote your own chapter in this book. So please tell us a little bit about what it is.
Yeah. So I started all the way back when I was 10 and I'm 34 now. So it is definitely expansive. But really, my chapter was about the fact that I grew up not a believer and God spoke to me anyway at 10, kind of gave me a vision for my life. I'm a big vision caster, you know that. And so God was like, let me speak to you through this vision for your life. And it was kind of really beautiful to see the way my life play out exactly the way He said my life would play out, and really just kind of told my story of these struggles that I went through and how God kind of redeemed them, especially at our Kim 10 event, and just seeing the growth in myself at our Kim 10 event and just seeing kind of full circle how God works.
So good. And for those of you that don't know what Kim 10 is, it stands for Kingdom Impact Message in 10 minutes. We also have a speaker academy where you can be a certified Kim 10 speaker. So, writer, speaker, we want to hear all the stories. And I remember that with you, Lemon, of just what came out before and after of you getting on and sharing your story. And then afterwards, what came about. And there's so much healing in that process. And I've actually been hearing that from a lot of these authors, a lot of healing, a lot of reflection. I'm glad that I journaled, to really dig down deep the importance of that. But I can definitely resonate with you because God spoke to me very clearly at the age of 7. And I was like, what is this? This is crazy. But his pursuit of us, right? His pursuit. And he's like, I'm not letting you go. Even if you turn away and you decide to go somewhere else, I'm not letting you go, which is beautiful. So anything when writing this chapter, anything specific that you want to really highlight to maybe help the listeners at home that resonate, you know what? I'm a visionary too, or maybe I want to be, right? Is there anything that you can kind of highlight for us outside of them, obviously, going and getting this best-selling book?
I know, I can't believe it's still a bestseller a week later, which is incredible. But I would say this process for me specifically, because I am really forward facing with Kingdom Alliance, I'm forward facing with my podcast, like I'm forward facing a lot of areas. And so for me, even and if you're that type of person, which I'm going to assume you are if you listen to Molly's podcast, but I was really afraid to share some really raw, vulnerable things about myself, moments that I had experienced with drugs and like all kinds of like very intense things, and feeling like, oh my gosh, are people going to see me differently? And I really wrestled with sharing those bits about myself. And all it did was make me more human. And people really connected with me even deeper than I thought they would. So that would be my biggest bit of encouragement is if you are forward facing in your brand, in your business, whatever it is that you're doing, and you've been hiding these certain pieces of yourself, I would encourage you to share it, because I think that it casts even a bigger vision for what's possible for people when they actually hear that part of your story.
It's something where I can resonate with that a lot because I'm like, oh no, if they knew that part, my gosh, like they're gonna cancel me the whole thing. And God's like, no, there's so much more. And but the shame and the guilt and all the things that come on you of like they can't know that piece, that probably is the piece. And so many of us go through things and it's just we want to hide it, but God wants to bring it to light to heal it. And he wants to be able to share. So I'm so glad that you went there. I'm so glad that you did. Because I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with that. Even when you said drugs. I mean, I know so many people that you wouldn't even ever be like, oh, wait, you did something? Like, I used to do drugs. I used to smoke weed for 10 years. I had a binge in my 20s where I tried a lot of different things. Like, and when people hear that, they're like, not you. And I'm like, Yes, like people go through things and they're good at hiding things. We're really good at keeping things in the dark, but that's not where God wants it, right? So I love that you brought that into the light. Um, Anything else about the process of writing this book? By the way, is this your first book? Let me ask that
It
question.
is.
Very
It
cool.
is. So again, I probably did things very differently than 90% of the people that are going to come on and talk about it because I podcast a lot. I had a really beautiful conversation with Camille about the writing process, who's, the publishing director and book coach that we have here. And I said, Camille, I could tell my story if I could just verbalize it. And she said, so why don't you? And so I use the same software I use for my podcast, and I talk to text my entire chapter, which maybe is cheating. I got it done a whole lot faster than people did who sat down pen to paper and wrote it out. But I was able to really get out my feelings and articulate it the way that I know how to do it best. And I mean, it resonated with people. So I've really loved just even the permission to do things the way that I work best. And yeah, I think it produced something really beautiful because of it.
I love that. Way to use technology, by the way, to kind of like speed up the process. I mean, we have these features and they are helpful. So then it gets the bones out and then you can fill in the rest later. So, so smart. Lemon, I just love you. Any word of encouragement, whether it was through the process, from the chapter, anything at all for the people that are listening, any word of encouragement so they can just really feel that and then they can go get their own copy on Amazon so they can read it for themselves.
Yeah, please go get a copy. But I would say, like, I mean, you say this all the time, right? Your story is meant to be mentorship to somebody else. And I really felt that reading because I had to read everybody's chapters as the marketing director. And I really got to know some really incredible stories. And now women are out sharing their stories on podcasts and all these things and touching people in very different ways. This book has been a beautiful catalyst for that. And so I would encourage you, if there is a story that you're like, I need to get out, do it, share it in a book, share it in a podcast, go on a Facebook Live, YouTube, whatever it is you want to do. Get out there and start sharing what it is God has done in and through you and give him the glory in that process, because it really will resonate with people and it will completely impact their lives. So
Mm.
I want to encourage you to go do that. The enemy wants you to keep it, in the shame spot, right? That's how I felt. And so I just want to encourage you to like dig up those gross, messy parts of yourself, because that's where God gets the most glory.
Yes. And as you're sharing that, I just hear there is glory in your story. And so many of us haven't experienced that yet, or God hasn't got to get the glory yet because of what you've overcome, what you've said no to, what you've said yes to, your obedience, all the things, right? So, Lemon, thank you so much. Love you so much. And congratulations on your first chapter, an amazing book. And I'm sure there's so many more to come.
Thanks, friend.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. It means the world to me that you would lean in, listen in, and be able to hear the value that's being shared on this show. Don't forget, if you love this episode, rate the show, leave me a review, be sure to share it with a friend, and don't forget to tag me on social media. I will definitely be giving you a shout out. Also, come say hi, drop in the DMs. I would love to be able to hear what stood out to you the most on the episode and if there's any topics that you would like to hear on the show. We'll see you next time.